afternoon, YouTube. It's me, always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Guys, I know you just saw me about a good hour or so ago. Now I'm back because I have a special guest. She's a lovely lady, and we've been, companions and comrades in this sport of bodybuilding for quite some time. You might recognize her. She's been a guest quite too often. As you know, last year she made an announcement she was switching over to wellness. But she got some news also coming out. If you follow her, we have here my dear guest, my dear friend, the lovely Miss Jada Beverly here.
Hello.
Yeah, I know you guys are excited. She's lovely, she guys. So we have Jada back, and Jada just competed at a show was about a couple of weeks ago in Spain. What was that like? Going to Spain.
It was nice. It's dry over there, so I didn't have any allergy problems. I would say it's a little bit more deserty than I expected, because it's like in the middle of Madrid, so it's very deserty. The weather was about, I want to say average 52-ish. Um, the show itself is new. They haven't had it for a long time, like maybe a handful of years, maybe 3, 4. It's the second time they had run the wellness. It was freezing cold in the facilities. Spain has this thing where they like to save utility expense. So if they're not using something, it gets turned off. So they had us in a casino. It was called the Grand Casino. It was in Aranjuez. And when they had the show, the casino wasn't active. It was closed down until a later time period in the day. So it was cold as hell. Competitors and coldness, it doesn't really work a lot, right?
Yeah, because with the
Not for
cold,
me.
yeah, with the cold, because it causes your muscles to contract because
Yeah.
because you don't get that nice pop and that vascular look when you're shivering.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Not that you were supposed to have that for such division, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, the show just it was, I feel like they were more they really wanted to promote it on a social level. So I think because of that's where their head was at with it, that I don't think they understood that the competitors were suffering a little bit because of that. I don't want to talk about the show or anything about that. I can only tell you what I experienced. And I think that they literally forgot for a second there the comfort of the actual competitors. Um, but because of work, which is something that is on me, I didn't get out there as soon as I really should have. And then I had flight complications. I had a flight that got delayed, so it pushed me back even like it it set my time limit even more, at risk here. And that also puts you in a stress state. I don't think I'm going to fly British Airways anytime soon. You have to excuse me. The winter here has got my nose running. So I couldn't get there on time, and so I lost a little bit of time. Plus, you jump forward six hours. Um,
Yeah.
so that's something you can't really control, right? Job, doesn't allow you a certain amount of days, and you're like trying to get overseas. If you have a show on a Sunday, my best suggestion, if you have to go overseas, don't get there any later than a Tuesday. The body just needs a certain amount of time to de-stress from that flight. And my body just didn't quite have enough time. But not only that, and I'm not trying to make excuses, I'm just telling you the reality of the situation at the show. The time frame, the coldness. My body is also not used to mineral water. That's all they had access to for me there. All the stores I went to, I could not find purified water. I started my water loading here at the home front on purified. That's what I've always used. I get out there and my water has to switch And I'm not sure what that did or didn't do for my physique, but it must not have done anything good, because the aftermath is I didn't quite look the way we were expecting me to look. But all that's beside the point, because when we get to the reasons as to why I even tried to make the switch to wellness, and we'll get into all that. But the main point of the story is I kind of learned that where wellness is today, it has nothing to do with what they say in the in the judging criteria. It's totally different. Where they are today is not what I was training to be and to look. They are far more harder than you can imagine, which wasn't really supposed to be a thing for this division, but that's just where it's at. So,
Well,
go ahead.
well, like the division, I think it's supposed to have been kind of like bikini, but with girls with bigger butts.
Yeah,
And
the
not
rule book state, I mean, if you've ever read the criteria, and silly me, I'm always focusing on what the criteria says because I'm feeling like that's how they're going to judge it. And the criteria, it states that you're not supposed to have extreme dryness. You're not supposed to be overly hard. No striation should be visible. You're not supposed to have a lot of separation. And you're supposed to not be overly hard, but not be overly soft. So, I mean, but let's be honest, that was my third wellness, and they're even harder than they were last year, this year. So
it's crazy.
They want hardness. I mean, the harder you are, the better you're going to do. So
that's, yeah. Because that's the thing is now you're pushing for new division fit models coming up.
And they're all going to be hard. They're all going to end up being hard. Nobody's like, it's crazy. I also made one other mistake out there. I trained a little too hard my final training. I just, for some reason, thought, I don't know what I was thinking, but this was a mistake on me. I trained way too hard my last training session out there, and I ended up being so sore at the show, I couldn't even flex my glutes. So, but if you want to go back to the origin as to the reasoning as to why I tried to make that switch, because I know that's what everybody was trying to figure out. Well, why did she even make the switch? It's kind of like a 6-point answer. 3 are the very first and most important. I made the switch into that division because reason number 1, I was trying to deal with a health issue that physique was really kind of making it very hard for me to compete. Like I handled the one show in 2023 okay, and I did well, but I was supposed to go and do another show, and I couldn't do it due to some health issues that I was having after the show. So I was starting to think that like my body was, having trouble keeping up with the conditioning levels and all the stuff you need to do to train for physique. Also, I left the division due to a major injury that I'm just going to have to face the music and just deal with it and get it fixed. I mean, for work reasons, I need to get it fixed anyway. So why are we running from the problem? We can't run from this anymore. We just have to get it fixed. But I initially stepped away from physique because I'm like, with this injury being so severe, it's going to hinder the way I have to present myself for physique. It's going to hinder my training. It's going to hinder the way I need to pose, the way I need to perform. And so I'm like, okay, that's another reason. The other reason was work. I work a full-time job now. This is something I never did competing before, even as an amateur. And it takes a lot of my time and a lot of my energy. And I was thinking that if I did wellness and according to the judging criteria, this should take some of the training down for me, eliminating my whole upper body. So then I'm training just lower. That's about 3 training sessions a week and about 5 to 6 cardios. I'm doing the math here. I'm thinking it should be easier, right? And the other reasons were just the simple fact that there was more wellness shows. I mean, there's a lot more wellness shows than there is physique. They were given more money to the division as well, and the division was still being honored and supported by the Arnolds. So I'm like, okay, maybe this is the way to go, I guess. I never could understand why he got rid of figure or physique, but he did. So I'm using these as excuses as to, okay, let's jump ship and try this. But little did I know that I was a ball trying to fit into, or I was a circle trying to fit into a square. And you learn that when you're with these girls on stage and you're seeing the complete difference in your physique versus theirs. And you're putting two and two together and you're like, okay, genetically speaking, I'm not even in the shape structure to do this. My job requires me to use my upper body a lot. So there was no way it was ever going to get rested like it was supposed to come down. Because if I don't train it at all, it's supposed to come down. I haven't touched upper body in like 8 or 9 months. I haven't trained any upper body. But because of my job and because of past show muscle memory, all that jazz, this thing wakes up every time I go into prep, even if I don't train it. So that's a no-no for physique, or sorry, for wellness. You can't have a dominant upper body. You're not supposed to be balanced here to there. You're supposed to be dominant down here, have a little bit of tightness and some stuff, but nothing in compared to, what you're going to be physique. And my physique body, even untrained, still pops out every time I go into a prep. It's there. It's not going anywhere. That's just what's going on. Also, the girls in that division seem to have a very elongated glute tie-in, which you either genetically have that or you genetically don't have that. Okay. So I guess that's my point about, like, I'm trying to fit into a square and I'm a circle. So, the good news is we try, we see, we learn if something's going to work or not. And then you just make decisions after that. So me finally being of the age of 39, seeing that my upper body's not going to go anywhere, seeing that I still have to come in just as hard for physique as I would for wellness anyway, seeing that my body is more prone to go back to physique than to try to fit into wellness. If I want to keep my status going until I just really just got to throw in the towel and not compete anymore, I feel like I have no choice but to heal my injuries and to go back to the division that so far had treated me the best out of the 3 that I've done in the pro league. When I switched to bodybuilding, I switched over well, but I wasn't favored or liked in the community that controlled and ran it. I wasn't really welcomed by the wings of strength in bodybuilding. So that unfortunately can't work out. So I revert back to physique, and that's the cards that we have to play with here. It's either that or I guess it's nothing. I don't know. So
That's the thing. The thing is, we've been looking at how the divisions have evolved. Even women in the physique division should go up to women's bodybuilding. We're looking at figure
some
girls who
of them,
should go up.
some of them could easily.
Yeah, we look at figure girls who should do women's physique, and I'm seeing again wellness girls who look like they should be doing physique or women's bodybuilding. We
It's
have your comment.
insane.
Yeah,
It's
we have a
insane.
comment. Shout out to here. Tony says, "Good evening, Jada. How are you? Wish you the best for your career. I'm sure you'll do great in wellness." Well, she's not doing wellness anymore, bro. She's moving back up to WPD. I mean,
Or you could just say back over.
back over. Yeah, it's just
Whichever, right?
yeah. We have here another comment. Shout out to my man Jeremy. The Art of Female Muscle says some of these wellness girls are walking around looking like centaurs.
Yeah, pretty much. It's got a
I mean,
point.
yeah, because there's one girl I think I actually met one of her clients. Her name is Tiff Sam, and this is a picture here. Tiff and another competitor. If you look at these girls, if she had a little more size in the upper body, she could be women's bodybuilder. I mean, the other girl,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's crazy, and especially you talk about tie-ins. You want that good connection. Even they tell it, even women bodybuilding physique competitors, you want a good tie-ins. But I think it's more
But they don't
dominant.
have to come down that low. They don't have to do that.
Yeah.
It's easier for you to do physique with you just kind of got to go with the flow of how your body's just going to balance out everything. And so I could still pull off a halfway decent look in physique and not have tie-ins that go down to the middle of my hamstrings. So, but the thing is, the early girls in wellness, like when it first came here, when it first like broke out, those girls didn't have tie-ins that came down that long. That is something that this division has been developing, and the judges are rewarding that. So like everybody is trying to get, like, if you have them, more power to you because you've got an advantage. So,
Mm.
but that seems to be what they're going for in the look. I don't know. It's the criteria is one thing, but what they're going for on stage is a whole nother look. So it's, you know.
The thing is, I think they're not sticking with that's the same thing with women's physique because it supposed to be certain criteria. I remember as you told me that when you and Jada competed at the Shreveport, that's about a good 4 or 5 years ago, and they told y'all you need to go up. And then I think with Mela, she hit it off, but now I think Mela's kind of, I don't know, she's having issues now. And you start off pretty good for a good bit, but then we talked, your last competition where you kind of was dealing with some stuff, and that kind of hurt you a bit. Then you came back and did physique, and that was the Daytona back in, I think it was 2023,
Right.
yeah, and that was, I think, your best look and your best placing.
Yeah, but I couldn't go on to do the next show that I had set up because my body was not allowing it. So that was a very big disappointment. Because who knows what I could have done at the Legend Sports with a placing, like that, but just wasn't meant to be, which is okay. Now I just feel like if I'm going to go back to this division, I just have to take very long, planned out preps so that we don't stress the body too much, especially with my full-time job that I have, so.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about life. It's like you gotta pay, you gotta pay to play. And
Yeah.
also being a competitor. It's not a bodybuilding. It was like a real sport where it was like football, basketball, baseball, where you can make a living off of. We don't have to have a job. You're the lucky. There's a lucky few that do can make a living off of it. The rest of y'all have to really work and have responsibilities. Shout out to my Tony. He says this. He says, sorry for the mistake. Apologize. That's all right, brother. Yeah. It feels like sometimes you feel like you're just getting up and you just feel like get in the morning, now it's the afternoon before you know it's night. Shout out to my man. Jeremy says, what do you think about Christina Mendoza move from full-on women's bodybuilding to wellness?
Yeah, I don't know. She'll probably struggle, just like all of us that were in physique. I mean, even Shanique Grant, she managed to win a show in California, a smaller wellness show where she wasn't faced with some of the known girls, and she went to the Olympia, but she didn't even crack top 15. I just think that take it from me, it's not as easy as y'all think. And Shanique Grant trained for 3 years to come down. I just switched right over like a fool, but how I am. I seem to not have um, a time my reality with time seems to be skewed. I guess I'm not very patient. But I don't know. I mean, maybe she's got better tricks up her sleeve that we all don't know about, but she'll need something to bring her arms down because I'm telling you, they do not want big arms in
I
that
think,
division. They don't want it. You can have cap shoulders. You can have a somewhat wider back than some of the girls in wellness, but when you start bringing big old huge arms, and that's where that's where it hurt me. Like they don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
So she's gonna have to get rid of her arms some kind of a way.
Yeah, and you got to think about it. Shanique, she's a lot younger. She's like, when she left, she was like 25. She was just still young, and she had that time where she was living her life, doing this, doing that. And people talk about, oh, she can crack a top 10. No, I don't think she's, because, think about it. She was figured for a good while. Then she was two-time physique Olympian champion. And then you take this, 3 or 4 years off, and you come back. She looks really good, I would say. Maybe she might need to go back to physique. I don't know. Maybe do go back to figure.
Or
And
maybe
then
she'll just keep doing wellness, and as long as she keeps qualifying, maybe she doesn't care about, I mean, getting to the Olympias might be the game now. Like, I don't, who knows? I don't know. I don't know what's in her thought process. I just know that she was not around for several years, changing her look, and she still kind of came in with, I think she was penalized at the first show for her arms, and I think something to do with her abs, and I think they wanted more fullness in her glute somewhere, and whatever the judging. I heard the judging criticism of after the show. I just can't remember everything, but yeah. So maybe she'll stay. I don't know. I just know I'm too old. I can't waste time anymore. I have to fit in where I fit in,
yeah.
and that's it.
Where Shanique, if she wants to, she's been a two-time Olympian. She's instantly qualified. If she goes back to physique, she can just pop in, but that's up to her. Shout out to my man. Jeremy says his question says, "What is the new full-time job?"
Oh, fiber communication, fiber optics, bright speed. They're kind of like all over, and they're starting to, they're pushing to get bigger and bigger. So
You're working with computers.
it's a very physical job. It's a very physical job. It's extremely demanding on it's demanding physically and it's demanding mentally. So
Yeah, that's the thing is like any job. Like I tell you, I've worked quite a few of them, and the ones that some people say are easy are not that easy. I remember when I used to work in the strip club, guys would say, "Man, George, you went to the strip club, yeah, yeah, yeah." Dude, it's not that. It's not. It's some days are good, some days are bad. There's a couple times you had to take guys out because they got into fights. You had to break up stripping fights. Somebody brought a gun into the club one time. It's like any job. It can be, yeah. But this is like
this one specifically can be somewhat dangerous because the company wants to be cheap and pull bucket trucks away as much as they can, which are, in my opinion, vital for this industry. And they have me working off of a ladder in the middle of the winter, having to climb up poles and go up strands. Like, it's extremely dangerous and extremely physically challenging. So
yeah.
yeah.
I know, ladies. I don't know if you know Brittany Brooks. She's, I think, started doing something like you did. I think, or I think it's working with wire carpeting or something like that. I know she hasn't competed in a while, but I follow her still, and and she's doing something kind of like that because technology is up there. And you want to, I think when they had that big storm in Texas, they said what they needed was better, connections and also better guards for the lines because Texas never had weather hit that bad.
Yeah.
We got here a comment. Shout to my man. Jerry says, "I get that. I drive forklifts and I'm in the elements all day long. I used to work at this cold storage place. That's about all. I remember one time somebody, I think one of the forklift guys knocked down things of turkeys and they were in the box. We had to stack them up. I mean, I tell you." And it had a blast cooler. You might as well.
Yeah, the cold really puts a spin on things.
Yeah, especially when it comes to muscle, because again, it can cause muscles to contract.
Yeah.
And you got to try to keep yourself warm. So
yeah, and not only that, I just get so much more tired when I have to try and stay warm.
Yeah. Oh, baby, I wish I could hold you, keep you warm, But now that you are, moving aside, what's your thoughts now if you look at, because recently just had some ladies announce their retirement.
Mm.
Just with Christina Meadows moving over, but Melissa Tyke, she's retiring. She said, Michaela Aycock, Barbara Majan. I know Anne Marie Moon retired this year. I think Evie Rain retired last year. I mean, so a lot of ladies are stepping away from the sport.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's some of us that feel like they haven't done enough yet. So they feel like they're not ready to step away until they feel like they've gotten to a certain status, which I have not won a pro show yet. So I feel like I think that's what's driving me to not just let it be, because deep down inside, I feel like there's been a handful of shows where I should have, definitely done better than I did, and I could have pulled a win. And I just haven't done that yet. So I think that's what's partly what might be driving me. But I have to get away from wellness because never in my life have I been at the bottom of the barrel in any division except for this one. And for some odd reason, we just can't place outside of the bottom of the barrel. And at least in physique, even if I wasn't top 3, top 5, I was still in the question because most of the time I was always in the top 10. Most of my career in physique has been top 10. Except for of course, my top 5 finish in 4th and my top 3 finish getting 2nd out of 20, Um, so I think that's what's wrong with me, why I won't step down yet, because I'm like, I still need there's something I still need to get accomplished before I can really feel like I did something in the sport as a pro and was like, okay, I can let this die now.
Because you feel you have something to prove, and that's the thing is
I
like,
feel like with the physique that I know I've had, I feel like I have got to at least win one, at least one. I feel like I came so close 2023, and arguably a couple of my shows previously, I should have been placed better. But weird things happen at these shows. Things get like twisted and just crazy things happen. And then, yeah.
mhm,
But
mhm.
yeah, so I feel like I've got to, and now I feel like I'm coming from like the ground back up again. So,
Well, it can be hard to start over, especially when you have been at the point where you were like at the top one point, then coming from the bottom, and then got to come back up again. It's like it can be monotonous. We got
yeah,
here.
I just got to get away from a division that is just not suited for me. Like I thought maybe it was because I had a big glute and I do have big quads and things like that, but it's not quite the glute that they're looking for, and it's not quite the structural, just like my whole structure is just not. Most of those girls are much smaller than me. The majority of the girls in wellness that are doing well are of short stature.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I know this. Usually, shorter girls, usually the ones who have because their legs are a little shorter, they can put
Yeah.
on a little bit more size in that area compared to girls who are taller. Because with you taller women, if you were like anything above 5'5" or like that, it's just because it takes more time to put on that size of muscle and develop, especially in the quads and the
Oops.
glutes. What?
What happened? There we go.
All right, there you go. There
Yeah.
you go.
And a lot of these girls, because a lot of them are from the South American countries, they have been training for years to fit in that exact category. Like that exact, whatever the wellness look truly really is. They knew it better than I think when the judging criteria was made, because they're the ones that are basically dominating the look and turning it into what it is today. And that's all the division that they've ever trained for. They've not crossed and done anything else. This is what they've done. Other girls here in the US, a lot of us are crossovers from a different division, jumping back and forth, trying to figure out which one is the most suitable. Like someone like me who just needs to you know, stay in the one that has done the best so far.
Well, I know one
Um,
lady. One lady I follow. She used to be a bodybuilder, and she came back recently at a show this summer, 60 years old, and doing wellness. And the problem is that she doesn't have the legs for it. She didn't even have the legs for women's bodybuilding. She could probably do physique or figure, but doesn't have the legs, the dominance in the lower half for a division like wellness, especially, even though she's older. I've seen ladies who are in their 60s and 50s and still have that because of good genetics or just how they're built. Like my man Keith, we say like this: it's those strong Afro genetics that help, especially if the top five competitors in wellness are mostly going to be Brazilians or maybe some other ladies from other countries where they have those aesthetics. Shout out to my
Yeah.
man, Jeremy he says, what's your thoughts on the release of the 2026 IFB Pro schedule with only 18 shows for WPD, 16 less than last year? Because I think I know last year,
What?
if he says like it's he want to know, it's like I think it's like this. He says it's about like 16 less than last year's, because I think is
Well,
you
all right. They haven't finished it, right? The schedule?
no, because you still have to wait for the shows from Europe. The Red Isle show has not been put on the list, and there's a couple other shows like Tupelo, but I know some shows did drop Wins Physique.
Mm, yeah.
Daytona dropped it, but they brought it back. But this time, not doing open; it's doing masters. Legion dropped it and figure. I know who else dropped. Oh, the St. Louis Pro dropped it because the last year don't have five. Was it last year had five competitors? You had five competitors. Pittsburgh had three, so you
Yeah.
decided to drop it because you only had five competitors.
Yeah. So that's the other huge disadvantage for not doing women's wellness. You come from this many show opportunities to now this many.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's an unfortunate thing.
And then now they're putting a new point system because it's more geared towards divisions like men's classic, men's physique, wellness, and bikini because they have way more shows. Like bikini, at least 100 shows. Figure just wrapped up a show yesterday in I think Taiwan. And they have a little bit more, but then even though they have been cut from shows too. Shout out to my man David Bryant from over at Female Bodybuilding Forum. Shout out to David. Says Jada is stunning. Glad she's coming back to Wins Physique. Thank you, brother. That's my man David. Got to meet him. I went, and this is something I know. I told you this. I went to Tampa.
Yeah.
And it was for me. I got to meet David. Got to meet Eunice. Quite a few other competitors. Some ladies who I have interviews with. That was a great. I know you had a history with Tampa because that was one of the shows where I think that was your bodybuilding debut back in 2021. You cracked top 10 in that show, and I'm still remember you were impressive. I think you could have been higher.
Yeah. That's the thing about my bodybuilding career. Like I was not welcomed in that division because I was never I was never placed well, even when I looked good, especially at Savannah. But I also did Tampa for physique too back in 2020. So I think I got ninth out of 23. So not terrible. Not
But
terrible.
yeah, it's the numbers there, game. It's always gonna be like that. But as you know, the division is evolving. As you know, we have a new Women's Physique champion. Question is how long she's gonna hold the title, if she's gonna jump from show to show. I mean, I, uh, I'm just like this.
I'm not worried about who's at the top of physique. All I care about is getting back into something that I did my best in and just getting back into the conversation again. I mean, I probably will never qualify for the Olympia, and that's totally fine. And even if I did, I'm not by any means ever expecting myself at my age in open to do any better than top 10. So I don't really care who's top 5. I just nowadays for me it's like I'm battling, it's me against me, at this point.
Yeah, so
So
because like I said, yeah, because you can be your own worst enemy because it's not about the person that's backstage with you; it's about you being on the stage and presenting your
yeah, and
best look.
I have so much show trauma now from all the mishaps that I've had that I've got to deal with that kind of psychological issue with myself so that my nerves don't blow out my whole entire look on show day.
Yeah, because I think stress can affect you because the cortisol can build up in your body. Like we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
how going
Oh, yeah.
flying, because that's why not a lot of Americans go out of the country other than
Yeah,
maybe.
it's not an easy thing to do. It is not an easy thing to do. Not at all. I mean, if you can help it, maybe go to the next country over, but if you're going to fly overseas, give yourself the time. I would have given myself the time. I couldn't with work. So, unfortunately.
Well, they got a new show in Mexico now, and Natalia competed that
Mhm.
show just right after Olympia. It's
Okay.
not Mexico's not too far.
No, you should be able to drive. You should be able to.
Yeah, instead of shows like Toronto's Super
Yeah.
Show and and just saw, well, they're not going to do open for women's physique, but they are doing masters, and that's Tim Gardner's coming back to Puerto Rico because he
Yeah,
made
but I
that.
would never do any of his shows though. So that's those, unfortunately, anything that he's attached to, and anything, unfortunately, that Wings of Strength has anything to do with, for my best interest as a fair placement on a stage, I unfortunately, sadly, have to stay away from those two promoters because I'm not on their, I have fallen out of favor with those two promoters. I'm not going to lie. I am not in their favor. So I really had to skip those. I was sad Jack Tatone wasn't going to do the Missouri, the St. Louis. I was sad he had to pull physique because I would have done that because I wanted to do something early.
Well,
So I had my fingers crossed that maybe that show in Victorian Island would do physique again because I mean they do have
they,
competitors go
they,
every
they,
year.
yeah, they did. I think this last year was the most. I think they had at least about 14, 15 women because the last couple of times they had more women bodybuilders for that show. They
Yeah.
had women physique competitors.
So
This
I'm
year,
praying
yeah.
to God that he's one of the ones that are on that early list because I want to do something in April. And that show is the first one for physique that came to my mind.
Well, since I follow Corey and them, they're gonna have this show on the 18th.
Okay, the 18th of April. Do you know if
Mm.
he's going to keep physique?
He
Because I will
probably will.
absolutely plan to do that show.
He probably will because that's the three divisions: women's bodybuilding, physique, and wellness.
Okay, and I'm
He
I'm glad that they had the numbers last year because I know a lot of shows were cutting certain shows because they didn't have the numbers.
because I think
Okay.
that's why Steve Weinberg they were thinking Steve was trying to keep it, but then they only had
Yeah.
three competitors, and that was a surprise because
Yeah.
it wasn't that long ago that women's bodybuilding was cut from New York Pro, even women's physique. But now women's physique has the numbers. You'll have a show where you have, I think, outside the Olympia, I think it was one show that had at least almost 30 women in women's physique.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's just the
That's why I
numbers
want to
game.
do something early because sometimes you have better luck with numbers not being too bad, but at least there, present to have the show.
Yeah, because I know they did have it at the Triple O, but because the title was promoter for that division, she dropped out of it.
Okay.
She's also promotes a show in Brazil,
No,
and
gotcha.
yeah, and there's also I saw the list. There's a new show coming in Florida called the South Florida Pro. Um, you my big question is like if they're gonna bring back Tupelo because they do open, and then there's Texas. That's in the summer. I mean, the numbers are there, but the big question is when it's bodybuilding. If shout out to Austin Carr, just added the Steve Carr show. Shout out to Ashley Jones. She shot me out because I got to meet her when I was in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, folks, we're gonna do this while we have Jada is we're gonna jump into social media for a bit. It's been a while. We're gonna check out some stuff. She's posting stuff. We might, I know you guys, you're a fan. We get, some classic stuff here. Like this is when she was at the Daytona back in 2023. And again, she was really impressive. This is the one they used for the cover for the video. I mean, and she took second because I think Mimi won that year, and Mimi moved over to figure.
Yeah. A lot of people came to me at that show and were surprised that I didn't get the nod for the qualification at that particular show.
Mhm.
But The judges do what the judges do.
That's the thing with the judges. Sometimes it's just I've seen
Well,
shows
she was
where
a repeat. She was a repeat. She had the reason they gave her the nod was she had won the show before. She's from Florida, and she had previously been to the Olympia, and that was enough for them to choose her over me. Plain and simple.
well, there's a lot of politics going on. Some favor certain competitors over others, and then sometimes it's just a luck of the draw. I mean, like I said, you look really good. I mean, you have here Heather
I
Grace
had
here.
her on the back, the side chest, and the side try. The only pose she had me on was the front double bicep pose.
Yeah.
And that's not coming from me. That's coming from people that were there watching it and critiquing the 5 mandatory turns. So,
Yeah, that's the thing is,
but she still won, but that's okay.
well,
Okay.
like I said, it's just a setback, and like I said, you are planning on April, and if you talk about if the Vancouver Isle is going to have women's physique, which I feel like it's gonna, I think it'd be a good show for you. I mean, Corey's a pretty good guy. I mean, I often heard that he's really a fan and he supports, women's bodybuilding because that's why he only has those 3 divisions. It's also it's a pro am show, so you got to make his money on the side. And this is
Okay.
this is where we remember, Jada from her wellness days, and I mean, again, man, I think either way, you're pretty impressive. I mean,
Did you hear anything about some show in North Carolina possibly adding a few pro divisions? But I don't know if physique is one of them, though.
well, that should be the Charlotte Pro. And I think if I check on it, I think I saw it. Shout out to my man, Glenn. He posted it a while back that they're adding women's physique to that show. If I can find, let me
Because
see. If I,
isn't that an early April show as well? Because
let
I'm
me
shooting for all April shows if possible.
well, let me think about it. Let me while we're talking, let me check and we'll see. Let me check the
So I
list.
basically have to stay. I have to stay in prep like all winter, and that's fine.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
plan.
Um, Here we get here, like I say, I don't have a plan. I'm just a dog in cars. Here we get from here from my man. Shout out to my man, David. Excuse me. It says, I hope Jada is not jaded. She has top-notch physique and beauty. Would she support return of point system for WPD Olympia?
Would I support it? Yeah, but the Manions are never going to do that.
Yeah, because I think again the point system is about this time trying to cut down numbers when it comes down to certain divisions. That's physique. I
Yeah,
think
but
not so much.
that the point system for wellness is to cut down the numbers, but the point system for physique, we need the ones that help it like stay alive because they're cutting shows left and right. There's going to be hardly anybody.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing is, it's I think because physique is getting so close to women's bodybuilding, they feel like, again, when you don't follow the criteria of the division, the women are going to
They get
devolve.
so meshed together. They just get all just scrambled up and just blurred. And yeah, I know.
Yeah. Wait a minute. We have here. Shout out to my man Dave. He says this. He says, also, Corey confirmed to me that the White Owl has no problem division this year. Unfortunately, he says this. He says no pro divisions. Oh,
No, I never heard about that.
so they're dropping. So David, they're dropping the pro division. So that means, so it's just going to be exclusively amateur show. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's boring.
yeah. So no. Oh damn! I know some ladies would. Yeah. Well, well, it's not worth it. Well, there's Omaha. I think that's in
Yeah,
or
I need something in April though, but I don't know. I have to wait till the whole entire list comes out and see who's got something. Hopefully somebody will have something.
well, I know Shreveport's going to be in May,
Yeah, I
and
know that. There's plenty
actually,
of shows in May and June. Yeah, I know that.
I think like I said, let me look on the list real quick. But I think there should be because the list. I think most of this is waiting for like the
I hope so.
I
Hold
think the
on
list
one
is
second.
yeah. Let me give folks while we look at the list, but it's still good numbers here. I think at least over 20 shows. Um, there's the Emerald Cup, but that show is a Masters. Uh, in New York, that's um, in May. Pittsburgh this year, the New York Pro is before the Pittsburgh Pro because usually the Pittsburgh Pro is first. Then Ottawa in May, Omaha, Toronto, the show in the South Florida Pro, Chicago. So you don't want to do any of the Tim Gardner shows, and you don't want to do Linda Murray. There's a Texas Pro, that's Battle Up Production. Mountain State Arizona Pro, that's still Wings of Strength. And then after that is the Atlantic
But
Coast.
I need earlier stuff. That's the thing. Like I have to be
Yeah,
done by May.
that's the problem is, there's nothing other than
At
the
least not
Emerald.
right now.
Yeah, not right now, but still, it's about waiting and see what promoter's gonna put out. Wait, we got a comment here. Shout out to my
Because
man.
I have nationals at the end of May for powerlifting. So I have
Yeah,
to think about that too.
yeah. We got here. Shout out to my man. Jeremy says, I wish they would add at least women's physique here to the Indie Pro. I think they had it before. No, they had women's bodybuilding one year, but that was the other
Yeah,
Indie Pro.
thanks to my company. But I thought the Indie Pro was done. I didn't think he was doing it anymore.
I think somebody switched hands, and he might have switched hands, and somebody took it over.
Oh, okay. Because he
Yeah,
didn't remember he didn't have it last year. Like it was like no more after
yeah,
2022.
yeah. We have a comment here that says Tupo looks like it doesn't have pro women's bodybuilding or physique as well. Oh shit! So Tupelo.
I'm telling you, wellness has come over and just it has plagued these divisions. It has plagued these divisions, and it's like it's an extremely popular division, and other shows are jumping to it, and they're cutting out bodybuilding and physique, and it's just like
And there's some shows that just have wellness. They don't have any other divisions. Like if there's some shows that those promoters would just have because those shows they say are easy turnarounds. You can just have bikini, you can just have men's classic, you can have men's physique, you can have wellness, and now you have, fit model because there's easy turnaround shows.
So I've seen a lot of promoters, they're excluding even figure, not to mention obviously bodybuilding and physique. They're dropping those divisions and adding in wellness because it's more popular, it's easier, it is heavily supported, and it's crazy. It's almost that's why I called it a plague. It's come in and just kind of unfortunately.
Well, because I think the look of it, when it first came in, it supposed to be very more soft and feminine. But now the girls, because how influential bodybuilding is, the girls are getting more ripped and shredded.
But
Even
they are. They're hard as nails down below. But it's how it's hurting women that are in figure, physique, and bodybuilding that want to make that crossover can't, because they've trained their upper body up so much that they can't get it to come down for that wellness look, even though they have the lower body hardness, or they can get it, whatever. But they reach an obstacle up here in the upper body.
like
That's
with
what's killing it.
like with Christina Mendoza, she has to really drop a lot of size because she's been a bodybuilder for at least over 5 years. That distance she has gained, it's going to take her at least, and she's much older. She's like, I think Christina's like in her mid-30s. It's going to take her a long time to really, even if she does switch over next year, she's going to still be just a bodybuilder in high heels.
Yeah, that's what she's going to be, essentially what I was. I hate to say it, but I played the hard road. Like I went there and did it and stood on that stage and saw, and I was like, okay, this is not going to work. unfortunately.
Well, I saw this video from the three of the women who were at your show, and those girls was wow. I'm looking at myself. I sent to a friend of mine. We were talking about Christina. Says these are just top three at this show. And this is just Olympia qualifier. Imagine if you want to try to get qualified at Olympia. If you don't, if you just, I know quite a few ladies who made that switch, and some, it might have worked out for them because maybe they weren't as big or wasn't as developed. Others, it just didn't work because you still was carrying a lot of mass from being either physique or figure or even women's bodybuilding.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just not working.
yeah, shout out to my man Jeremy says Gary Udit now does the BB for Indiana. Okay, Garrett, he's one of the, I would call he's part of the syndicate. With guys like Tim Gardner and Steve Weinberger. It's the whole family thing with the with NPC. Tyler Mannion, who is, I say like this. To me, I saw him when he was in Tampa. He was one of the judges at the Tampa Pro. And you're still just how, I think he's 31, 32. You're still wet behind ears and breath smell like Similac. How are you a head judge at any show where you have not even been a competitor? Yes, we know your family, runs the IFBB NPC. But again, this is one thing I know that this, like he does a critique after the Olympia. Especially, he has done just about all the other divisions except for women's body and women's physique. He just did a critique of the Atlanta Coast show for men's classic and men's physique, but has
Okay.
not even put out the critique for women's bodybuilding and women's physique at the Olympia. I mean, I know some ladies, it doesn't make sense. Here, shout to my man David, sticking in here, brother. Thank you. Says, shit, it's more like unwellness for the muscle division. Ugh. Yeah, because it's
Oh yeah, it's definitely, I hate to say this, I've never seen a division such as this that promotes so much, not just like harsh things that you have to take to diet down and look a certain way, but the fakeness of it, the boobs, the implants. Oh yeah, some of these girls actually have implants and you know where else. Um, it's a very plastic division. Like they promote the plastics and the PDs and you're right. It is a pretty unhealthy division. Because
well,
if
I
you don't have the
know.
boobs, and most girls that hard are not going to have them, no girls are going to have them. Everybody's got them, so you got to go get those done. And then there's other things that they do, especially coming out of Brazil, other surgeries and other things that they do to help sculpture that look. So
Well,
it
I just saw a while back.
screams getting under the knife.
I saw a while back somebody seen it was a video of this guy talking about how some competitors use synthetic oil to, especially I think it was really prevalent with one competitor, Dr. Sunny, what's her face? Forget her name. Some say that she was really, her last time she was in Olympia, her butt just looked like it was about, you can pop it like a zit. It just didn't look as complete and even. It was just weird looking. I mean,
Yeah, I see a lot of that still. In the division, some of these girls, you're just like, okay. But I've figured out, because when you really dig in to see what's going on, there are slivers. It's almost like the same type that they used to put into like other like calves to slip calf implants in. So there's like these tiny slivers of silicone that you can slip right into up underneath the main part of your glute and push it down where that tie-in comes in and elongate that tie-in, and nobody would know the difference because it's just a small sliver of a silicone implant. There are so many tricks out there, George, that these girls are doing and utilize, like it would blow your mind.
like I said, there's things like I said. I'm getting to this point in my life. Something's never surprised me. We have a guest, T. Dominic. Dominic says, "Why heavily promoting plastic division then?" Well, the thing is, it's about money.
And
Yes,
it's about a look. You don't
yeah,
know how they got to look that way, but all you know is that's how they look, and people are like, "That's cool. I like that."
yeah.
I don't
Like,
know.
like, like the thing is, I'm not a big fan of breast implants. I'm like, I'll be honest with you.
Every
Depending,
wellness competitor pretty much has them.
yeah, I think it's a handful that I think one girl I started following a little bit. Her name is this is the one I just showed a picture with the other girl, Tiff Sam, and she doesn't have them. She's one of the few. She's been to Olympia before, and to me, I think she has potential for women's bodybuilding more than if she's bringing the size. I mean, she's
Well,
not
she's
too
one of the
far.
ones that actually have some implant work, believe it or not. Word on the streets.
Yeah,
Not implants here where you're thinking, but somewhere else.
well, we know she doesn't have it in her chest, but she has like my man Jeremy said she's like a centaur or Clydesdale walk around the gym. I mean, but generally, you know, it's a thing about a certain look. Her conditioning is crazy. Like now, just here, this is again, this picture right here on the right, your left, she looks more like physique or women's bodybuilding than she does wellness. The other picture, yeah, a little bit more like wellness, but this one where her abs are just too well together. I mean, they even tell girls in bikini they don't want you to have too much gyration of glutes. They don't want you to have um, overdeveloped abs. They want you to have developed stomach, but not to the point where you have a six pack.
Yeah. She might have won the Texas show, but she was told that she was way too big.
Mhm. Well,
That was her critique.
I think the thing she should do is this. She might need to move over. No
I
point,
don't think she wants to. I think she does too well looking her freakish nature of how she looks right now, which is enjoying looking like this. I think she makes enough money on just being a social media, mutant. I don't think she even honestly needs to compete.
Yeah, there's quite a few of those women who are like on social media influencers, and they just
Yeah.
just
Where
working
like
out and
this is just
training.
a look that they're building. It's a crazy look. It works for them. They don't even need to compete. They don't need to make it fit into a certain box.
Yeah, there's
So
one person I follow, Fafa Fitness, and she's very popular on Instagram. She does post a lot of stuff here and there. She crazy booty. So I think one point I think somebody asked her what she did think about doing. She said, she has a hesitation look to it. Say, I thought about it, but because she does really well on social media. That's the way you make your money. She collabs with other competitors, and even she does stuff with celebrities. I think the
yeah.
thing is,
So that would be the next move, for me, probably eventually, because like I feel like I'm one of those unicorns that have a certain look that kind of doesn't really fit into like a lot of the categories in the IFBB, but I don't know.
well, things like this, I think everybody has something about them that works for them. And also, this sport, it's, I don't know, doing this for quite some time. Because I said again, we have talked and discussion like this, and again, I'm an outsider. I'm an outsider. And also, I'm a muscle very small. Y'all muscle ladies kind of fight me, you know. But I think people need to realize that there's a certain thing and a way how to do it. And if there's rules that are set for a certain division, if they want y'all ladies to look like a certain way, if you tell bikini girls don't be too star rated, don't have a wide back, come in a little soft and feminine. Oh, instead of sticking to that rule, say, oh, let's make a new division and be a throwback to the old division. But what's going to happen is that new division is going to wind up looking like the division you're trying to throw back on instead of just sticking to the rules like the judges are saying like okay if someone like if a peddler comes in doing a physique show and I'm looking at her and I'm saying this is a woman's bodybuilder, you're not going to make the top 10, you're going to bottom out or you're going to bottom out because that's going to either you pull back on your training or you move up to the division.
Yeah. And then there's like the whole other entity of age. Like for me, late 30s, you're already set in stone. you're not, your body is already set in stone. Like the foundations have been laid out. You can't undertrain something. You can't overtrain something. All you can do is polish it up and make a few minor changes. And that was the problem that I ran into wellness. I'm at the age where what I got is what I got. There is no training anything down. There is no training anything really up. There is just fine tuning and making it better or getting it more conditioned or minor changes, but that is it. So a lot of these women, if they're at that age, they got to roll with what they got. If they're a little bit younger, still in their 20s, late 20s, maybe very early 30s, you still got a chance to manipulate your body and completely like kind of change it and transform it like I used to be able to do, but I can't anymore. Then yeah, you've got a chance to undertrain, overtrain, or whatever you got to do to try to fit into a different division. But one thing I know now is when you reach a certain age, like where I'm at now, there is not too much transforming you're going to be able to do. Your body is like, no, this is us. This is how we are now. This is how we're going to be.
I can tell you, like I said, I try to lose a few pounds, and it takes a lot longer because I don't have the same energy. Because I just turned 51 just
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, and I'm becoming an old man. I'm a half century old. You're still young. You're still young, Philly. And then there's one person when I was in Tampa, I got to meet, and she is, I would say, a female. That's Paula Ranta, and I think she's just 26 years old. 26. And I mean, she did, like, I think this year she did at least about 8 shows. I mean, at 26, you're still growing. You're still cutting your teeth. You still got your baby teeth.
You're not at a mature muscle state yet. You won't reach that till you're about 35. And then when you get there, that's when it's very hard to manipulate and make some major changes. So that's why I'm stuck with what I've got right now. And what I'm stuck with is the last division that I did very good in, and that is physique. That's all we have. We don't have anything else.
You still working, you doing your own coach, or you still working with your same coach?
No coach. I haven't had a coach in years, George.
Oh, yeah. I think
I didn't have one for Daytona either.
that's the thing is that, I think that's really a lot of work because you got to critique your own self. You have to see what you got to work with. I mean, a lot of competitors, I think, especially if you're a first time competitor, you gonna need a coach. Some do it, some don't. But then you have your own coaching band. That's everybody knows that's the Muscle Rim. That's been doing around. How's that been doing?
It's fine. It's a small year. We have mainly the power lifters up underneath that brand now, and they've been doing fantastic. I had one client, she did well for her first show. She was all natural. She looked really good. Do I think she should have even placed better than she did? Yeah, but she still placed in everything that she went in. So, just me being so busy, I can't really train that many people, I can barely train myself. But the door is always open, and because I don't push that brand except for the power lifters, but I don't have to do the powerlifting part.
Right now, I know. So a while back you were doing some powerlifting competitions, and you say you're planning
Yeah,
on doing
so I'm
one.
qualified for the nationals, and that's what I was mentioning that I have late April, late May. Late May is powerlifting nationals in Utah, which I qualified for. So I am trying to make that date.
Well, like I said,
So
with the Van Al show where it's going, it says like Man Davis is not going to do the pros. Other than there's nothing really till May, and you're
until we
shooting.
see more, we never know till the full thing is out, and then from there I just got to make a decision what I can do. But work wise, I plan to get this surgery done for my knee and recover from that. So there's going to be a period probably late February all the way through spring that I'm probably going to have to take time off of work to recover and train. So we have that working for us. So
Yeah,
if I'm thrown to have to push towards like late, maybe, and this is where it gets complicated because I don't want that powerlifting event to really clash into my physique stuff. But then again, maybe because it's physique now, it could actually help the situation. It's hard to say. We'll just have to see how prep goes to see if we can do stuff a couple weeks before or a couple weeks after, which would push us more into June. And there's tons of June shows, so I know that.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's quite a few ladies who do powerlifting,
Yeah, I know.
early in the season. I think sometimes you gotta be careful because one thing is with physique, you have to have that nice, more compact, slender look to you. But as you know, now if you're looking at women's physique now, some girls are getting really huge, getting really big. We were talking about how again some should move up. Like I'm looking at Rich Daniels, I think. I remember when she was at Tampa, her one of the clients was Keisha Oliver, and Keisha did Open and the Masters. And there's a picture of Rachel and Keisha together. Rachel's quads were way bigger than Keisha, and Keisha is a bodybuilder. She's a physique competitor, and her quads were way bigger. I mean, I look at one lady. Her name is Brigitte. She's from Germany. She was top 5 the last couple of shows. This chick, she won her qualification in Spain, but she looks like her shoulders, she has a nice taper to her, but her size, upper body wise, it's like it's yelling she should do women's bodybuilding. I mean, and again, these ladies, I know they want to move because then that means they can put them on size that, but then again, it's that muscle maturity. When you start hitting in your late 40s and up to your 50s, and your body stops. You can't stop growing, after your 20s. So I think it should really sit down and think about it. You can do better, like in a division, like I think with Melissa Tyke. She's been to Olympia twice as a competitor, but she never cracked the top 5. Then with the Olympia, no, she never cracked the top 10. Then she went to women's bodybuilding. She was 6th. And the only reason why, because you have people like Andrea, you had Ashley, you had Lavinia, and you had Angela in that top 4. And someone like Alcyone, if she comes off on a bad day, or you can come in right there and take that spot.
Yeah. Well, like I said, with my age, like my body's not going to change a whole lot. So like me doing physique and powerlifting together, I really think it's going to be a pretty equilibrium, to be honest. One thing I've noticed, like I'm not going to get too much bigger and I ain't going to get a whole lot smaller. All I can do is fine tune what's already there, which had been a good structure, and just make sure the conditioning is there, and the balance has always been there. So yeah.
Just want to be more tone, how do you say tone?
You just make sure the conditioning is there,
Yeah.
which
I
I've
think
had it before, so I can revert back to getting it again, and so yeah. But I know I've got to get off here soon because I've got to be somewhere at 2:30.
well, man, we're not gonna hold you much longer. We do appreciate your time coming through. We just want,
Absolutely.
yeah, because we don't get to see you too often.
No, and I'm
Um,
sure people were wondering why I had even jumped ship and and all of that. I mean, it definitely came down to some reasons that I thought I was going to make my career easier, but no, I just basically embarrassed myself 3 times. That's pretty much what I
well,
did instead of making it easier.
for me as a fan of yours, you didn't embarrass yourself. You did your best. It's something different for you, and it may not have worked out where you wanted to, but I think
Well,
to me
I
you look
can't even
pretty good.
say that I did my best because I still hadn't gotten the look I was shooting for yet. I had obstacles in my way that averted it. So I didn't even get to my best wellness look
Yeah,
ever.
take this as the compliment. Just take it as
No,
the
I understand
compliment.
what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but
Yeah.
I don't want them to think that that was like the best I could have done. I just
Well, yeah.
decided to pull the plug on it because I'm like,
Well, like I said, it was something you tried out. It
yeah,
didn't work out for you, and now you're going back to something that probably works out better for you. You
yeah,
tried it. It didn't go well, and that's all it is. That's all it's all about. Like I said, like this. Sometimes God don't put no more we can bear. As long as you might get bent, as long as you don't get broken.
right.
So, folks, if you want to follow Jada, her link is in the description. I know you guys, she's a pretty lady. You get excited. Hey, don't be weird, be respectful. If you're someone who's interested in maybe sponsoring her, that helps out. Sponsorship does help out, cover the cost of things here and there. Just reach out and genuine interest and don't be weird. I want to shout out to my guests here. Shout out to T. Dominique. Shout out to my man David. Shout out to my man Jeremy from Daughter Female Muscle, David Female Bottom Forum. Shout out to Tony. Anybody who's here who watched and follow me on my social media platforms. Reach out and genuine interest to these ladies out here in the sport, and also support someone like Jada. She's planning on doing this powerlifting show. You want to check it out. Where's the show when it's at?
It's at the end of August, or sorry, it's at the end of May. So whatever that would be, like the 30th or something like that, Utah. But when that time comes, I will post way more information around that time. So
All righty, and I will share that post. So, folks, we'd like to thank Jada for her time, and we welcome her back to the women's physique division. Wish her all the best, and hope she does well.
thank you.
All
Thank you for having
righty.
me on.
Hey, you're welcome. You're always a welcome guest. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. It's your man, Always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Don't like, subscribe. I am out. Good night, good luck, and God bless.
Bye.